For those of you who are constant followers of these videos, you will recall that we admonished people not to get involved in any situation that could lead to violence. We also mentioned that the media will always look for the most outrageously dressed person, photograph them, and they become the typical image of those in attendance in the mind of the public. They had a field day with a few who were there in Washington last week. We were concerned that violence would take place in Washington. We just didn't know how it would happen. It was just too good an opportunity for the enemies of liberty to use to tarbrush the freedom movement. We ask you to watch again the December 16th posted video, False Flags and Militancy. You will get more out of it in light of what happened nearly a month later on January 6, 2021 in Washington, D.C. The video is posted for you to see starting now. During a time of crisis, there are always two things which rear their heads: militancy and false flags. We have to watch out for both. The enemies we face want us to engage in physical confrontation, and from there into actual combat in the streets. This the media can then use to give an excuse for clamping down on conservative and constitutional organizations. The media and social media are not our friends. They've demonstrated this over and over again. They will use any physical confrontation against the side of the constitutionalists and conservatives to show that America is dealing with sedition and violence by our side. As an example, I was involved once in a confrontation at a political rally. There was a Nazi, passing out a Nazi newspaper in order to recruit people into his movement. Just by being there, this Nazi was discrediting the candidate and his followers by making it look as if we were all Nazis. I saw what was happening and confronted the man. Within no time, I had a reporter and with a cameraman running up to me yelling, "Hit him, hit him," while the cameraman was at the ready to shoot a picture of me doing so. It was an obvious attempt to provoke violence. If acted upon, that image would have been exactly how the media wanted to portray the candidate and his followers. I turned to the reporter for the local newspaper and said, "I'm not going to hit him, so you can have a picture looking as if the supporters of the candidate are violent extremists." I probably said a few other words that I don't remember, and a few I don't want to admit. In any case, the Nazi disappeared from the scene. Another tactic that was used on this candidate was the unfurling of a large Southern Confederate battle flag behind the candidate as he deplaned at the airport. The candidate or his campaign had nothing to do with it. It was a setup to make the candidate look like an extremist. These are just some of the tactics that are commonly used. The image we project must be squeaky clean, and when we are at any public event, indoors or outdoors, we need to be on our best behavior, regardless of what the other side tries to provoke us into doing that can be used to portray us as violent extremists. This even extends to our dress. The media will always try to find the most ridiculously dressed people in a crowd, photograph them to make it appear that all of the people attending an event are a little cuckoo. Another thing which rears its ugly head is fear. Communists use fear to destroy credibility. There have been many instances of rumors being passed around that are unsubstantiated of foreign troops at the ready, either at our borders or within our country. We have witnessed at least 2 times when the Chinese troops were supposedly massed in Mexico ready to invade us. Once we supposedly had Belgian troops wearing UN uniforms up on the Yak River of Montana, ready to move against us. The rumor was preposterous, but it was being spread by some very militant anti-communists who had all the earmarks of provocateurs, trying to get anti-communists and conservatives spreading rumors that were not true in order to make them look ridiculous. Once they would do this, spreading the rumors, they would never be believed again, no matter how truthful later revelations might be. As to the Yak River incident, it was used more than once to entrap conservatives into spreading falsehoods which destroyed their influence. In one case, I took an editor of a local newspaper and a candidate for county commissioner up to the Yak River to prove to them that the danger was a false flag. They had heard the story and were somewhat convinced that there must be something to it. There wasn't. These are just a few examples of the tactics the communists are willing to pull in order to discredit conservatives, and more importantly, those within the John Birch Society. Over the next several months and even further, we should be very careful with how we behave. Let's not play into their hands and harm the image of the John Birch Society. Our republic will need every conservative and constitutional organization in the days ahead. Remember, this was a month ago. Also remember that we've had a lot of experience in such matters and can tell what can happen in the future.